Well, first thing I'm going to say is La Mirada in the house. People over there don't know what this whole meeting's about, because they think, you know, I don't know what they think over there, but let's just go ahead and let them know. Is La Mirada in the house? So we're going to go ahead and start off by saying, give you my impression, each of every one of you. You know, you're going to be, hopefully have a good impression of me when we're done, but I am so impressed with each and every one of you, because I see and hear and feel God in country. That's what I feel. And because I do that everywhere I go, and when I grab that microphone and I finish my speech, I'll say, God bless you, or I'll begin my speech by saying, God is with us today, and He has truly blessed us. So a lot of people are afraid to do that. Well, guess what? I served with the 82nd Airborne, and I took that airplane, been shot at, so I think I deserve to be able to stand up and thank God for bringing me home, right? And the other thing is, because I did serve with Montebello Police Department, I always acknowledge our men and women in law enforcement, our firefighters, our first responders. God bless them for what they do. And all of you know that with this pandemic, it was so important that we honored and took time out to thank each and every one of them. And I'm sure you did, as a club, as an organization, individual organization, but you've done that. And I appreciate that, and I know their families do as well. And we started off, excuse me, excuse me. We started off by, of course, doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and you allowed me to acknowledge Senator Bob Dole, a World War II veteran. And as you know, our World War II veterans now, and I tell you, everyone, they're the generation that rebuilt this country after the Depression. Our freeways and highways and bridges and hospitals and schools wouldn't be here without the World War II generation who built it. So, you know, like Alice said, you got a beautiful job there in the city. There would be no city without the World War II veterans who made it all happen. So we have to thank them every single day. And I will tell you this, that as a veteran myself, I am so grateful to have served this great country as a paratrooper, but I will tell you that I am one of few, well, I am the only senator in California that has two sons on active duty, and I've sent them both off to combat. You can imagine, as a parent, how troubling that was. But I told my wife, they're going to return because the good Lord is with them, and they're well trained. One was Special Forces Green Beret, the other one was an artillery officer. They're both West Point graduates. They did well. They returned. They're both married, have children, but they're both still serving. And God willing, we will have no other action, and they won't see any more, and that's enough. My Special Forces Green Beret, 5 tours. 5. That's enough. So I said, hey, that's it. So he decided to get out of the active and go into the active National Guard so he can get himself into Yale and prepare his life. So he's at Yale now, finishing his last year. So my wife and I were very honored to go to the, let's see, we went to the Yale-Harvard football game. So for you football fans, you know that Harvard and Yale have been fighting each other for centuries, it seems like. And we were able to be there. And I'm telling you, what an exciting time. So this Friday, we're flying to the East Coast to watch the Army-Navy game because of the kids who served and went to West Point. So, but I tell my kids, because I am the chairman of the Military Veterans Committee in the state of California, I have to honor all branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and now we have the Space Force. So I honor them all. But I am so blessed to be the chairman, and on my left and right, I've got retired officers, men and women, Republicans and Democrats, and we fight hard to make sure that our veterans in California are taken care of. That is our committee's mission. Our job is to make sure the bills and things that we support always remind us of the veterans, to make sure they're taken care of, are disabled, are homeless, and everything else. So let me go ahead and share a little bit more about my life. I'm also blessed to be a presidential appointee, a former presidential appointee, and I was able to serve and represent President Barack Obama at the United States Military Academy at West Point to oversee the operation, the military, the training, everything, with 4 United States senators, 5 United States congressmen, and 5 presidential appointees. Not bad from a kid from East LA and Lincoln Heights that used to sell flowers on the corner. Can you imagine? Only in America. Only in America. So I knew that when I came home that I had to do something to raise my kids and make sure that they understood how important education was. And that's why my oldest, who's married to Allison's sister, Bobby Archuleta, played football for USC, has his USC Rose Bowl ring, and that is my son Bobby. I have a daughter Dawn out of Pepperdine, a daughter Sandra out of Chapman, and my 2 West Pointers. Not bad by getting the belt. Giving them all the love they needed. But anyway, so for you parents, you know what I'm talking about. For you grandparents, I'm telling you, when those grandkids came, it was over. And it was always, gee, we didn't get to do that. We didn't get to do that. But Allison, you know, as the new grandma that you are, and so you know your life's over, that grandchild of yours is going to dictate your life. That's what it is. So you grandparents, God bless you for what you're doing. But as a chamber, you have to also look at those you serve and represent. And this is what La Mirada is all about. And that's why I feel the love here. And you're right, John. When we get together, and I'm here in the city, I feel the warmth. And I've also gone to your city. I felt the same way. I've got all these cities, and I'm going to read them out for just a second, because I represent as the 32nd Senate, and I call it again the Fighting 32nd, because we're always fighting for you to make sure that we are treated equally across the board, that every child has a great education, every business has an opportunity to grow, and every hospital has the best of the best, and the bridges and freeways and the environment we have, we're trying to make sure we take care of it, so I'm fighting for you. But I do represent, beginning with Artesia, Bellflower, Buena Park, Cerritos, City of Commerce, Downey, Hacienda Heights, Hawaiian Gardens, La Mirada, Lakewood, La Habra Heights, Montebello, Norwalk, Pico Rivera, Santa Fe Springs, and Whittier, and the county area out there. 1 million people. Can you imagine? So I tell my former friends and colleagues from Pico Rivera, where I was the mayor, that I had 1 child. Now I got 15. So I got to share the love and share the wealth. So I think that's what it's all about. So when you get to Sacramento, and I'll tell you the story, when I got there, my first time I went from a mayor all the way to a Senate. Usually there's a different climb to the Assembly, but I went right from the mayorship up to the Senate. So I walked in and I told the pro tem, I'd like to sit right up in front. And she goes, oh, wait a minute, you just got here. I said, no, I'm sitting up in front. You know why I did that? Because I want to hear every single word. I want to listen to every single senator, and I don't want to miss a shot. And I said, I want to sit there. And then the other request is that I'm the chairman of the Military and Veterans Committee. Says, wait a minute, we got a general in that spot. Well, I'm sorry, I've represented veterans for the last 24 years as the LA County Commissioner of Military and Veterans Affairs, representing 1 million veterans in the entire county of LA, and I think I know something about veterans. I'd like to take that position as chair. So I need you to go ahead and make that appointment. And she goes, hey, how can I say no? So that's how I became the chair. And I said, wait a minute, there's also something else wrong. This committee is called Veterans Committee. Well, wait a minute, what about the military? Because it should be Military and Veterans Committee. My God, that took an act of Congress, it seems like. It took me 2 years to get the name changed, but we did. So now we're the Military and Veterans Committee. Why? Because we have 31 military bases in California. Did you know that? It's on the test. 31 military bases in California. And we've got to make sure that they adhere to the rules and regulations of the state of California. Because we have soldiers who live on base with their families. They got to make sure they take care of those kids, abide by the laws and the environment, and so on. So the governor appointed me to be part of his council overseeing the 31 military bases. So there's another one for you. So when you ask for representation, I got to stand up and raise my hand and say, I'll do it, I'll jump in. And that's what it's all about, being able to volunteer. So when the Relay for Life needs help, you stand up and you volunteer. And I tell you, it was a great blessing for me to be there at El Rancho High School, and they stayed up all night, 24 hours. People would walk, they'd camp out. but you should have seen the friendship, the families that came together, didn't even know each other, with the common goal to stop this cancer, to acknowledge those who survived. And that was a great time for me. So volunteering, and John and all the guys that are doing what you're doing to give out food and clothing to these kids, God bless you for that, because that's amazing. I did that in the city of Commerce, and I did it with the fire department and the county sheriff. We filled up the baskets, and every kid got $100 full of toys and whatever. So we did that. While I was out there this season, we gave away 5,000 bags of groceries. We've given out hundreds and hundreds of turkeys. So you're right, I am everywhere because you've elected me to be everywhere. And I take it very, very seriously. So when I stand up for the district, I got to make sure that we got clean water. Where's my water? There she is. We got to make sure we have clean, affordable water. It's important. I talked with the environmentalists yesterday. There was a panel, and I said, hey, look at me. Right through that screen, I'm telling you, I'm making sure that our environment is as clean as it possibly can be. You know why? Because the 32nd Senate District has got 6 freeways. Find me another district in California that has 6 major freeways. You name a freeway, we got it. And what does that mean? That means the environment. That means children. That means people. Just suck it in that smog if it's there, and we're going to fight to make sure it's not there. But we can have a clean environment, and this is what I told the environmentalists yesterday. You can have business and you can have the environment working together, because we can have a cleaner system and air and everything else because it's necessary, but business should take the lead, and you're doing that. You're making sure that your factories, your businesses are running cleaner and better than ever, and we're doing that. And talk about clean, I volunteered again. There I raised my hand, and they said, what do you got now, Senator Archuleta? How about hydrogen? How about hydrogen? That should be something that we should think about in the future. Think about this for a second. Imagine this, the treasure chest of energy. You open up that treasure chest of energy, and hydrogen, fuel cell hydrogen should be part of it. Not just natural gas, not just fuel, it should be everything. So I was appointed to the Hydrogen and Energy Subcommittee. So I've been meeting with people. I've actually gone out to various plants in the state to see how it's produced. I asked the governor to sign a bill. They did, spending millions of dollars to investigate and find out how we're going to use hydrogen, where it comes from, how it's going to be transported, how it's going to be sold, how it's put in your tank, and how it's going to save a lot of energy, and that's what we want to do. So I will tell you that I'm sticking my nose in everything I possibly can. And that's what representation is about. So that's what you got to do as a representative of each one of your companies. How do you make it better? How do you make it grow? How do you get to that complaint? Because that's what business is. A business leader is the one who listens to the complaints. And whether it's a call to the city or to the department or whatever it might be, it's how you handle it. And if you do it with dignity and pride and honor, and the people feel it in the other end, you're going to get good results. And that's good business practice. So I will tell you that all the time I've been doing this, I've been knocking on doors. And some of the cities that I represent that I just mentioned, and I'm going to tell you what I was able to do, because I can't believe it myself. The city of Pico Rivera, we'll start with them. Their swimming pool went bad. And so they needed $1 million to get that pool repaired, because it's the only pool in the city. One pool in the entire city, $1 million. I went after it and I got it. The city of Whittier, everybody loves the library. I think we've had somebody mention the library, right? Library. God love you. I was on the LA County Library Commission for a number of years. So when I heard that Whittier was trying to rebuild their library and it was $5 million short, and the mayor flew up. John, the mayor flew up to Sacramento, knocked on my door and said, Senator, I got to have $5 million. We got to finish this major project on the main library in Whittier. I knocked on some other doors. We got it. $5 million. They're going to finish that library. The next thing I hear is that the homeless, God love them. You got to feed them, take care of them, as the pastor said. But you know what? They got out of hand at Carnell Park in Whittier. And they annihilated that park. The buildings, I mean, it was a mess. And I got a call. They needed another $5 million to put that park back in order so it looks as good as La Habra, La Mirada, Pico Rivera, some of the other beautiful parks in the district. So I was able to knock on that door, and I got $5 million to rebuild that park. So Whittier is really fired up because it was necessary to do it. And then La Habra Heights, here's one for you. If I were to ask you, name me a city in the 32nd Senate District that has an all-volunteer fire department, I just gave you the clue. La Habra Heights. They needed $1 million for a fire truck. They all volunteered. So if we were all volunteers in that fire call, we'd have to all get up and run over there and put on our overalls and get the axes and go knock off that fire. They have an all-volunteer fire department. You couldn't believe it. So I got them $1 million for a new fire truck and the garage and the structure. So they're really excited. And they honored me when I presented them with the $1 million check. Then the city of Montebello has a riverbed, and people go in there, trash, whatever, and they say, gosh almighty, if we had a fence that would go about a mile long, we would keep things back in order. So I got them $1 million, put up that wrought iron fence. And then Lakewood needed $2 million for their park facilities. We were able to do that. And then Norwalk had a project for $3 million for homeless affordable housing with my affordable housing. There you go. I got them $3 million. Downey, the Space Center. If you haven't been to Downey to visit the Space Center, take your grandkids, go to Downey and visit the Space Center to see how these things happen when we walk in space for the first time, when we send off those astronauts for the first time. It's a beautiful museum. They needed $800,000. We did that. In the city of Hawaiian Gardens, they needed $800,000 for recreational facilities. And then in the Los Angeles Cultural Center, they needed $45 million. So I got all my centers to participate in that. And then finally, along the San Gabriel River and on the way to the Pacific Ocean, the bike path. So we got $4.3 million on that. So my moral of my story this morning, if you're not willing to volunteer, if you're not willing to knock on somebody's door, things don't get done. And that's why I got elected, to make things happen. So as a mayor of the city, I'm with you, John. I'm with you, my brother, because I know what it takes to run a city and how to make it right. And for those of you who have heard about Pico Rivera in the past, way back when, it was a mess. You couldn't drive anywhere without seeing graffiti. People wouldn't go shopping. You wouldn't go to the parks. It was a mess. So I worked with the County Board of Supervisors. I worked with the Sheriff's Department and the community and the Chamber of Commerce. Hey, and the Chamber of Commerce. And when I was there, we took it all the way to the top, and we became the most business-friendly city in the county of Los Angeles, the most approved. And now people are shopping. The prices have gone up in real estate, and the whole city's turned around. And I guess that's what propelled me to become your senator. So I've done it. I believe in the good Lord. I believe in serving this great country, and I believe what the Chamber is doing. And that's why I'm so proud to be here. And I think that most of the things I covered, to some it might hit you here, but I will tell you, representation, we talked about, is so important. And what's happening right now is the adjustment of our districts. And as we just heard, so I told my wife and 5 kids and my 10 grandkids, Grandpa's got work to do. Because imagine a balloon and pushing it and stretching it, right? Well, that's what's happening with the district. So is La Mirada and Montebello going to stay in the district? Is La Habra going to be pulled in? La Habra Heights? Is where Walnut? What? I have no idea. But they're going to meet a couple more times, if I understand right. I think it's the 15th and the 17th of December, and then they'll finish it up on the 21st and 27th. So then we'll know. I'm just hoping that I can remain as your senator, and God willing, I will. So we'll see, and there's nothing I personally can do about it, because there's a rule in the law that says the senators can't get involved. So we just got to keep our fingers crossed that representation stays with you, and I hope you want to stay. You want to keep me, don't you? Yeah. So that's the idea. So I will tell you, I am so blessed going from city to city, and I'm lighting Christmas trees. I was in the city of Bellflower And when I lit that tree a couple of years ago, they said I was the first senator in the city's history ever to be there to light the Christmas tree. I couldn't believe it. And I was honored, and that's why I've committed to go back every year to light that Christmas tree. And I've got to go to City of Commerce before the week's over. I was in Montebello. I was, where was I last night? I was in Downey last night. And then La Habra, I've been there, right? So it really doubles together. It really, really does. And then all of a sudden, it's Monday morning, and I got to fly back to Sacramento, and I'll fly back in Thursday night, and then we start again, and then I go again. So that is an honor to do that. So when I sit on the Senate floor, and I look around, it's this very regal, beautiful building at the Capitol, I ask, how did I get here? The good Lord sent me. That's what I say to myself. And I'm on a mission to represent you, to protect you, to fight for you, and to make sure everyone understands that you're all part of the fight in 32nd, and we're going to fight together. So I'm so honored to be here. And if you have any questions, bring them on. Let's do it. Any questions? If not, enjoy your breakfast, for God's sake. Thank you, everybody. Oh, got a question.
And sorry, your meal is getting cold.
Don't worry about it. Not the only one that's been that way.
But listen, you are extraordinary in the way you navigate those cities. La Mirada we are a conservative community, and yet, as a Democrat, you seem very welcome and comfortable here. How do you navigate that? Maybe that can be.
Well, let me answer that question. How about the fact that I can sit down and break bread with anyone, as long as it's God and country and you believe in helping people. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent, because John and you guys can all attest to this. When you're serving and representing somebody, do you ask them, are you a Republican or Democrat? No. You said, how can I help you? Those kids, are they going to grow up to Republicans and Democrats? Can you care less? You're going to help them. And that was my philosophy as a mayor. That is my philosophy now. And that's why I don't care where you are, where you came from, what you're doing, what you look like, but I'm going to represent you the best I can. And that's what I do. And I think the Republicans feel that. The Democrats feel that. The Independents feel that. And that's why when I got elected and I won by 70% of the vote, that's not bad, right? Because it takes Republicans, Democrats, and so on to do that. And that's why the city of La Habra Heights, which is majority Republican, and they gave me a nice big giant plaque where all the council members signed it, and the mayor acknowledging my work, and I get it city after city because it's representation. And I've heard it said, Bob, you're the only Democrat I would ever vote for, right? Republican. And the Democrats say, God, I'm sure glad you're there. And the Independent said, hell, I'm not going anywhere without you. So it's a good thought.
Well, I think many Republicans across the line to endorse you from all the city council.
Yes, a good point, John. You know, out of all the mayors and all the Democrats and all the Republicans and all the city council and school board members in the district, I've been endorsed by 125 of them. Can you imagine? Sacramento says, what? Yep, 125 council and mayors and school board. 125. I stopped counting. But I couldn't, excuse me, I couldn't do that if they didn't feel that I was there fighting for them. You know, as a veteran, when I was overseas, it didn't matter who was next to me. Well, it mattered that he or she was doing their job, right? And I think that's what's so important. In today's world, it's who is there for us, for the community. So when we're all fighting for cancer, it doesn't matter. It affects everybody. When we're fighting for those kids, it doesn't matter. When those kids need a good education, we got to fight for it. Because if we're going to change the society, we got to make sure they're well educated. And the things that are going on. Remember, I served with the police department. I've been able to hook and book. But I tell you what, if these kids were more educated, maybe they wouldn't do that and grow up that way. And that's so important. And it comes back to the family. God Almighty, the families need help too. And let's talk about homeless for just a second, then I'll finish up. 3 elements. One, obviously, we've seen them. They're standing in the wall, and they're looking right up at the wall, having a conversation. Having a conversation in the wall, and not fully clothed, with a basket. They need mental health. They need treatment. And that's why today, I think it is, I'm scheduled today or tomorrow. Today, I'm going to the hospital there in Norwalk. the large hospital in Norwalk, the mental hospital, and I'm going to do a walk through and see what I can do to enhance it, fund it. So I'm going to do that. So that's one element. That one. The other one, God bless the family. They worked hard. They lost their job. They're in transition. That's homelessness. Then the third one is the one that sometimes they do need help. It's because they're putting something in their arm and they can't get away from the bottle. So those are the three elements. And each one needs their blessing. Each one needs our help. And we can't walk away. We're Americans. And we got to reach out and help those we can. Because when we sit down at Thanksgiving, we want everybody to do the same. And when you think and you give your blessings, you want to spread the word. So as Christmas is approaching, we have to reach in our wallet and help whoever we can. Because if we can, we fill our hearts. And that's what the 32nd Senate District is all about. Very unique because we have all white, all walks, nationalities in the 32nd. And that's why when I fight for you, I talk about it, every single one of you. And I will say this, as the mayor of Pico Rivera, my last point, that I fought as a mayor for an underpass. We had a junior high school on this side, and we had the majority of people who lived on this side, and those kids would have to cross the railroad tracks to get to the junior high school. I fought and fought 8 months, and I got $95 million. So you tell me what mayor, what council member could fight and get $95 million for their city and to go build an underpass. I was able to do it, and that underpass is going to be dedicated next year. Why? Because I went and I fought with Ace, I fought with everybody, because 2 lives were lost that should have been saved. A father and a son were both killed crossing that railroad track. 800 kids a day, and we couldn't afford to lose any more, and that's what I did. So that's why I got $95 million for that underpass. And that's what I tell you, fight for it, because whoever you're helping, whoever you're representing, the customers you have, the clientele you have, that's what you have to do. And in law, it's a fiduciary responsibility. You got to do that. And I will leave you with this. I'm so proud of the chambers, and I go to every chamber and I talk about it. Greg, we've been there. And he's heard me talk to the chambers before. And I use my chamber connection. And my wife and I are going to make an appointment to your office because we got to do some things now that my kids are all gone and grown. So we're going to prepare for that. And I heard it was a $900 deal.
Absolutely.
That's what I heard. And I've been to a chamber where there was a professional shampoo guy, and I got him all kinds of business. He did my house, and to this day, 5 years later, he's still shampooing my carpet. And my mechanic at Santa Fe Springs, a chamber member. I mean, everybody. And if you use the chamber, you'll make friends, you'll save money, and you make a new partner in life. So with that, I will tell you, God bless you, and I'm honored to be your senator, and I'm Bob Archuleta. Thank you.